The information shared on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking care because of something you heard on this podcast. The views and opinions expressed by guests or hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any affiliated organizations. Reliance on any information provided by this podcast is solely at your own risk.
Welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Image Podcast, where we bring you conversations that educate, inspire, and empower a healthier living. I'm your host, Stacy. Today we're talking about fitness movement and sustainable wellness with the team from Lagree Circle. Joining us today is Ruby and Lynn, the co-founders of Lagree Circle, who help clients build strength, improve mobility, and achieve their wellness goals through the Lagree Method. Makes Lagree unique and benefit low-impact training and how movement can support long-term health at every stage in life. Ruby and Lynn, welcome to the Healthy Image Podcast. We're so excited to have you on today. Ruby, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about, the background of how you started Lagree Circle?
So it kind of goes way back to 2023, 2024 when I first started Lagree. And at the time, the closest Lagree studio was 45 minutes away. And I would kind of hint to my partner, maybe we should open one of these. And one day, I invited Lynn to go take a class with me. And I just brought up the idea to her, and she kind of hopped on, and she's kind of been like the driving force as to why it happened. She did all of the paperwork and the back end stuff, and so she was the engine. So I had the idea, she was the engine, and it just kept going.
So you went to your first class with Ruby and, you loved it so much. How was your experience at your first Lagree class?
It was really challenging. I didn't know what to expect, right? I've never done any of these type of classes before. So just went in, took a beginner's course, which was supposed to be at a slower pace, but I still took a lot of breaks within the short 45 minutes. But I think it was the challenging part, right? And feeling good afterwards, that soreness, feeling like you did something. And it was just really interesting to me that I felt all of this within the short class, even with all the breaks that I took and how challenging it was. And it was just, we started talking and it just kind of bloomed from there.
It was planted at that time and, you guys ran with it. And I'm so happy you guys did set up, a Lagree studio in Temple City. And for listeners who are very unfamiliar with what the Lagree Method is, what exactly is it?
So Lagree is a low-impact, high-intensity workout, which is what a lot of people, that's the first thing that they say. I love how it combines Pilates and weightlifting, because I think that a lot of times people try to stray away from calling it Pilates because it's not Pilates. But if you do have Pilates background, weightlifting background, you can kind of incorporate that. And then when you use the Megaformer for the first time, which is what we use at Lagree Circle, the Mega Pro, you kind of have a good baseline.
What would you say inspired you to get into the fitness or the wellness space?
I guess it goes way back because I've always been into fitness. Sports have always been something that I turned to even at a young age. PE was always my favorite. And then I did sports all throughout middle school and high school. I got most athletic, so once I got out of high school, I think my senior year I started weightlifting. And then when I graduated high school, I got a membership at 24 Hour Fitness. And then kind of from there, I ended up dating a personal trainer, taught me everything I know, which was, amazing. And then I became a personal trainer. And then, so everything that involves movement, I realized that subconsciously I turned to movement, whatever that looked like.
Right, no matter like where you are in life, movement is so important. Whether it's, whatever you're going through, you can always lean towards the one thing, which is like fitness. Like you can go out there, like release your anger or whatever it is. Like, so for the 45 minutes you're in class, you leave it all there. And then people leave like happier, or at least I do. I'm like, okay, I came to class. Let's try, right? Who would you guys say is like the ideal person to do like the Lagree method?
I think it the Lagree method and our studio is kind of built for everyone. Like you mentioned, it doesn't matter what someone's going through, where they are in life, and that was part of our vision for our for Lagree Circle, is to create a space where people feel comfortable coming as they are, no matter the age, no matter, like nothing else matters, right? You come in, you're comfortable with us, you do the 45-minute workout, and I think it's beyond the 45-minute workout, it's beyond the exercises, it's just being in there, whether you are focusing on yourself or if you want to, even meeting new people. I've seen people, meeting each other in class when they come early, and then they're talking after class afterwards, and just seeing the connection between people.
What would you say is like the most rewarding part about being in this community?
I think for me is to get to know people, right? And it always reminds me of like, you never know what someone's going through. You never ever know what someone's going through, and just to be in here, have this one thing in common, is to get through these challenging exercises, struggling together in a good way.
Between the classes.
Yes, and coming out like you achieved something, right? Like you've done it together.
But you're like, you know what? I did it with my people, and it's might be not people that you would have talked to unless you have gone class together. So I think the community that you guys are building, speaks volumes. Like you said, like people are getting to know each other. People that you don't think would talk to each other at the end of class, they're all buddies, and they're like, let's go to our next class.
Yeah, and I want to add to that because there's actually a couple clients that have been consistently coming, and the one in particular, the first time she came to class, she was a little more timid, a little more quiet. And mind you, we've only been running classes for 2 months, and I've seen her consistently. And I saw her, I think, a week or two ago, and I could just see how much she's not only improved strength-wise, but like there's like a sparkle in her eye, and she was like glowing a little brighter. And I had to tell her, I was like, since the first time I met you to now, like you're glowing a little more. And like she had her hair done, she had a cute outfit on, and so like I think that's one of the most rewarding things, is to see not progression just in like someone's physical, but like in their soul, and like you can kind of see that glow from within, and it just gives me goosebumps. Like I love that.
It's this like transformation, so to speak, with your clients, because you see them quite often, and as they come in, like you do see that change. I do want to ask you, why is low impact fitness so important to today's like health landscape?
I think because the older we get, the riskier things, like the riskier movements get, so how do we work with that, right? And so when we can eliminate injury and then also, like our joints, they kind of weaken over time, so when we are doing low impact, we're still able to build the muscles, and when we're able to build the muscles around those joints, then we become stronger, we can move better, and then as well as the older we get, as women especially, our bone density starts to weaken, and so we need to build a muscle around the bones.
Because I've been doing Lagree now for almost 2 years, and I guess in comparison to like traditional weight training, which I do also participate in, I feel like Lagree is more friendlier on the joints. Like you're not doing these big compound movements. I can kind of see like a difference in my mobility. So I think Lagree is like a good method in that sense. So speaking of Lagree, like what are some misconceptions people have when trying class for the first time? Because it does look a little, I remember my first class and it was a little intimidating because it's like a machine I've never seen and there's so many panels and it's all labeled. So how do you help your clients like understand the machine a little bit better?
I mean, we walk through the machine with them if it's their first time, but I think I also love to tell them that, especially if it's your first time, to listen to your body, make any modifications. I tell them like, play with the grip. If your wrists hurt, drop down to your forearms. Kind of just giving them that, it's okay, because like I feel like people feel pressured to feel like they have to keep up with everyone, but that's just not realistic. Especially as someone, even if you're consistent. And then again, as women, we have different cycles, right? So there are times where our energy is a little low. We're not going to be able to get through that workout as easily as like a different part of our cycle, right? So just making them feel comfortable and safe.
Always like modifications, right? Like, they're always like your hands on 1 and 3 on the machine. And I'm like, okay, this is great for a little bit, but I'm like, okay, I can't hold it anymore. I'm going to go in my forearms. And I really like that there are modifications. So even though it's a group setting, right, and you're all trying to do the same exercises, like you should take things at your own pace.
Add to that. I think another huge misconception is that it's for women, it's females only. Right. So I think that one of our goal is to reach more men and try to pretty much teach them what Lagree is, so that they are more open to coming in and trying a class. And I mean, I see it myself, like some of the movements that we have, it's the exact movements that you would have at in a traditional gym setting. And I don't think a lot of men know that. Right. And just to do, like, I mean, you can be spending hours at the gym working on one part of your body, your arms, biceps and triceps. You can do this in 45 minutes with the same amount of, intensity and still work out on those exact muscle groups, which I don't think a lot of men know. So, like I said, one of our goal is to try to get more men to come out and try the class. And the men clients that we do have, they're pretty regular. And when I ask them what's the reason they're taking these Lagree classes, and majority of the time it's part of their recovery plan. That's how it started. But now they do it regularly to kind of, stay consistent.
This was something I did want to ask you about that, because I think sometimes when you injure yourself at the gym, like you don't go back for quite a long time, right? But do you see some clients coming in for recovery purposes?
Yes, and all the modifications, right? You can modify it so that it's quote unquote easier, or you can also modify it so that's more challenging. Like it goes both ways.
Interesting to think about, because I think a lot of times you go work out because you want to build on your mental health, right? But how do you see that change in some? Do you see that their mental health has improved, like coming into Lagree?
I guess there's not really any way of knowing the mental part until you talk to them, right? And it actually takes time to get there, because not everyone's going to be completely open. And I think that's something that I'm learning is to, I think one of the hard parts about being an instructor is like looking at like everyone's face and just like taking it personal. And then, but and then after class, when you actually talk to them, they actually enjoy class. Or, if you go deeper, you find that, for example, there was someone who came in and asked how often she does Lagree, and she said she took she's been doing it for a while, but she took a break because she got a tattoo. And I was like, oh, let me see it. And it was a tattoo of lavender on her ankle. And then I asked her, what does that represent? And she said, it represents new beginnings and learning to love herself again. And so then you can kind of tell that she's going through that transition, right? Just like by picking up the context clues. And so then you like, you know, once you start to dig deep, you understand that people are going through things, and maybe even your instructors are going through things. And I talk to my instructors all the time, and like, you'll never know that your instructor was crying right before class, or that when the last person leaves, they break down, you know? And so I think that it works both ways. So when we meet people that are going through it and they open up about it, and then, you know, like, it connects people in that way, in that depth, you know? So I guess, like, when you say, how does it improve their mental health? It's something that you kind of see over time, but you don't even know until, like, you have that conversation, or, you know, so.
The time and like opens up to you, and I feel like it has to be a very safe space that you're creating in order for people to open up, because not everyone wants to. We love holding on to things, right? How would you say fitness contributes to long-term preventative health?
I think in my personal experience, for me, like, I see myself, you know, kind of starting to lose that mobility. My back hurts, and it's just not physically either, like the mental aspect of it too, right? Just holding on to too much, trying to do everything. So I think having the studio and taking classes alongside, you know, other clients and everything has helped me a lot physically and mentally. It's helped my posture a lot. I'm always sitting in front of the computer, but now I'm aware of my posture, and I will fix it more often. And then mentally, it's just like getting in there, getting through that 45 minutes of class where really nothing else matters, and it's just like just letting go of the day, the week, the month, you know, the stress, work, whatever it is. It's just letting go for that 45 minutes and just really focusing on yourself.
You're dumping everything you have there, and then after the 40 minutes, you're like, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
I did that.
At the same time, it's like, man, I could have done it better, so I'm gonna be back.
Because you're challenging yourself,
Yeah.
right? It's like you're challenging yourself to do a longer hold, or hold the crunch longer, or do the 6 seconds versus the 4 count. I think it's just you against yourself, and even though you're in class with other people, you're not focusing on them.
Yeah.
It's like a regular gym. No one's paying attention to what you're doing. It's you and your exercise, and that's it.
Yeah.
Why do you think core strength is so important beyond aesthetics?
Like you said, it's what holds you together. It's your core. It's right, the foundation to your mobility, your body, and I personally am trying to work on that. You know, after having 3 kids, my core is like non-existent, and I feel my body declining and affecting my, you know, just everyday life, always being in pain. So I'm working on that, those moves where we have to hold our core. I'm, you know, trying my best and feel better every single time.
Would you say that's like your favorite part of class now? Like,
No.
Oh, never.
It's the worst part of class.
But you know what, I want to add on to, you know, like, your core holds you together. I think that when you do anything, you have to brace your core. And then what happens over time, like, why does your back start hurting? Because you're not engaging your core. That back is like taking all the weight. So if you're lifting something, you're lifting it with that lower back. You know, so when you learn proper form, being able to engage your core properly is what's going to prevent injury. And I think also engaging your core correctly, because when I first started Lagree, I only had weightlifting experience, and then I did Lagree for the first time, and I remember the class that I took, she had us in a bear, and I remember looking around and I'm like, people do this move, and I thought I had a good core, but I think that I had a tendency to push my stomach out, which still overloads the lower back. And then I realized, you know, when they say belly button up and in, you had to bring that diaphragm up and in. And I'm noticing, like, certain clients who push out, because they think that they're hardening it, right? And so I think that's something that we also need to be wary of when we do core is, are people engaging it properly?
Sometimes when you say core, people are not thinking like everyone actually has like an internal core set that they all have. Everyone has a core, right? But how do you engage it properly? So I think in Lagree, well, at least for me, like I think those are my favorite exercises so far. Like, I don't like the leg stuff, but the core.
So that's what I learned from the classes that I've taken too, is how to engage it properly. There's one of our instructors, specifically, she always loves to tell her class to blow out the candles. So I think now I connect, engaging my core properly with like blowing out the candle, and that movement is how to engage it properly.
Yeah, and something else is I tell clients at the end of class is to practice on vacuums if they know what that is, and literally you can do vacuums anywhere. If you're seated, and it helps you also focus on breathing, right? So it's a good regulating technique, but it's also like gonna help you really like take out all the air in your diaphragm, which is what you want, is to like tighten that core, right? So
Internally like tighten up your corset. What advice would you give someone who's, say, intimidated about starting their fitness journey? What advice would you give them?
I think just start, and I think we talked about it last time where, just take a walk, just move, stretch. You can stretch from anywhere. You can walk anywhere. If you have a dog or pet, start to like be consistent with walking your dog, because I know that life can get busy, and sometimes people kind of just take their dog out to use the bathroom. But if you're going to take your dog out, you might as well go on a walk to yourself, intentional. Yeah, be intentional with everything. And so yeah, stretching is a huge thing. Moving, blood flow, right? So it's little baby steps. And then I think also finding something that you'll enjoy, right? If you love sports, figure out what sport you like. Learn a skill, right? Because learning also helps with the brain, like building up those neural pathways. So just start.
How do you encourage your clients to stay like motivated and committed to doing the Lagree method?
I think that I feel like sometimes like people get caught up in just like the monotony of like routine, and I think that one of the things that I'm realizing is that sometimes, and this is not like, instructors are tired, right? And sometimes they can't help it, but I think that sometimes when it just sounds like not monotone, but you can't like feel their personality or their energy. I think that sometimes it can get like it could get boring. But I do, and I love that a lot of our instructors, they change the routine. They're very they find joy in like trying new exercises and stuff. But yeah, just having good energy, and then continuing to create that connection with people who are open to it.
In your opinion, what does wellness truly mean in today's like climate?
I think wellness goes beyond aesthetics and the way someone looks, right? It's so much more important and deeper than that, about how someone feels, and just their mental health, right? I think it's just like they're being content, being happy with what's going on, or even just embracing what's going on, and connecting with people, right? To when you find connections with people who are going through the same thing, or not even going through the same thing, but someone you can confide in, just to get it off your shoulders. Taking a 45-minute challenging class that makes nothing else really matter at that moment. So yeah, I think it's just doing what you love, is today's wellness.
And I think also connecting with yourself is very important. I think if you learn how to really connect with yourself, you'll really learn how to connect with other people, right? When you can kind of, and that's why, like, empathizing is really important, is understanding, like, if I'm going through this hard thing, then someone else might be going through that hard thing, and I know what that feels like. And so I think with the wellness space, it really isn't about aesthetics. And it, could be where, like if you want to feel pretty one day, that is completely fine. But I think that there's a lot of depth that goes into wellness, because we're all just trying to find something, we're all just trying to feel something, because life can get hard. And when you turn to wellness, anything in the wellness umbrella, like, what could go wrong? Like, it's all good things under here, so connection with everyone and with yourself.
So I do want to talk to you a little bit about, more of the classes that you guys have. What should someone expect, at their very first Lagree class at Lagree Circle?
I think it's important for first timers to come early so that they can let the instructors know that it's their first time. So then there will be enough time for the instructors to like show them the machines. It makes it less intimidating when you kind of know the components of the machines, so that when, the instructors are cueing what to do, you know what to do instead of like being completely lost. I'll let Ruby speak on the instructor's perspective.
I think something that first timers can expect is a warm welcome. I think that was one of the things that I really, and I know it's something small, but as someone who worked in a big box gym, who greeted people nonstop, like coming in and out, I enjoyed talking to people and greeting them, because when the roles are reversed and I go into somewhere and someone's like, "Hi, welcome in," and they have a big smile, I'm like, "Oh, hi," and then it kind of breaks you out of like you don't even know, like you know how you kind of feel like you have blinders on, and then when someone kind of like breaks you out of it, you're like, "Oh shoot, yeah, I exist," so a warm welcome, and then a great workout is what they'll expect.
What makes Lagree Circle unique compared to the other studios that are around? Are there particular classes that you guys offer that are different?
We are planning to do more themed classes. I think that one of the biggest feedbacks that we get is that we kind of have a different vibe. Whether that's how, like, the aesthetic of our studio, or maybe the way they feel. But I think a lot of times they're like, the vibe is different. It's a lot different than how the other studios look. And so that's the biggest feedback we've gotten. As far as themed classes, we have a couple coming up, and then
So I think what also sets us apart is when we're trying to come up with a schedule for these, themed classes, we're trying to find ways to connect with the community. Some of the classes that we've kind of curated is like a bring your kid / movie night type of thing, towards parents, because as a parent myself, like, we find it so hard to find even just 45 minutes to ourselves, right? So I think it's important to kind of welcome the community in, like, hey, we'll have some days where bring your kids, because we understand it's so hard to break away from that. So, we'll set that up, and we'll have the kids to have a movie night in the back where the parents can get a good workout in. And another one that we've thought about, right, just because everything going on, everyone's dealing with things, and like I said, you never know what someone's going through. So we want to have a class kind of geared towards like some sort of healing type of thing, like, hey, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be going through something to take these classes, but it's more like, hey, it's a safe space, come as you are, we're all dealing with things, it's gonna be okay. And to kind of supplement that, we're going to have a sound bath at the end of the class.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, sound bath and Lagree sounds great. was like, please have a sound bath.
Another class that we had an idea about was it's kind of similar to kind of like the to what Lynn mentioned, how people are going through things, and this is kind of we're gonna have it on what day was that? Not the luau, but the one, not the sound bath, because Kenzie's doing the sound bath,
Yeah.
right? So then I'm also doing a themed one for Friday. I'm doing a lot of themes for Fridays. One of them is gonna be kind of like saddie to baddie, like, how, like, when you're kind of feeling down and sad and you don't feel good about yourself, sometimes you need to just listen to some Meg Thee Stallion, some ratchet music, and then maybe at the end, yeah, reminders, like, to feel like a baddie again. And so those are the kind of things that we want to do, is like kind of that intention, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, it's a Meg Thee Stallion class. It's, oh, this is what we're going to listen to, and this is what we want. We want to go from here to here, and then have, like, quantify it.
I do want to talk about, what kind of memberships you guys offer at Lagree Circle.
Currently have founding memberships, right? And it ranges based on what you're looking for. We have memberships where you are allowed to come in 4 times a month for starters, to kind of find that consistency in going to Lagree classes, all the way up to like unlimited. So maybe this is for someone who does it more often and want to just come in whenever they want throughout the month. We also have class packs for people who have a more restricted schedule, right? So it's not limited to an amount of classes that they can take per month. It's more of use it whenever you can. And we have summer specials going on right now on our website. So you should check that out.
Listeners who don't know where you guys are exactly, where is the studio located?
So we're in Temple City, on the corner of Cloverly and Las Tunas.
Oh, so you're by the Cloverly Bakery.
Yes, across
Like,
the street.
directly.
What are some of your future goals for Lagree Circle, for the community?
I think the most important one is connection, and to have that, create that community.
Community for sure. I think that obviously the goal is to fill up the classes, but I think that the bigger goal is that we reach people. I think that going into this, my only goal was, if this helps at least one person, then that's enough, but it's helping more than one person. And I think that, we just want to continue that trajectory of just constant, like, feeling like we're helping more people, and then having that space, that third space, right? We talked about that last time, having all these third space, like having more third spaces. And I don't think you can have too much of that.
I do want to ask you a fun bonus question. What would each of your healthy day look like in LA? What would you do?
Well, healthy. We're talking about trying to be healthy. I would love to get them all outdoors at a reasonable hour before it gets to, yeah, exactly, but that never happens. So for us, more realistically, we're just, hanging out.
What about you, Ruby? What does your healthy day look like?
I think that it's just a slow day. Like, I think that, and it's different every time, right? So sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'll go play basketball. I have the energy for it. And other days I'm like, I can use a massage, So I think that a healthy day is really just listening to your body, because that's what it's all about, right? Is listening to your body, getting in tune, and giving yourself what your body needs. So that's whatever that looks like.
A special thank you to Ruby and Lynn, the co-founders of Lagree Circle, for joining us today and sharing their passion for movement, strength, and sustainable wellness. Today's conversation reminds us that fitness isn't about chasing perfection. It's about creating healthy habits, staying consistent, and finding movement that supports your body for the long term. Whether you're just starting your wellness journey or looking for new ways to stay active, we hope this episode inspires you to take the next steps towards a healthier you. Thank you for tuning in to the Healthy Image podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and join us for the next episode for more conversations that educate, inspire, and empower a healthier living. And as always, stay engaged, stay curious, and stay healthy. Bye-bye.